In this lesson, I'm going to talk to you about text wrapping. Now, in the VinylMaster samples folder, you'll find this file, texttools.vdoc, this 3-page file here. You'll see this as the thumbnail view of that actual document. But on the third page here, we've got some text wrapping examples. And this clearly shows you what text wrapping is. If I click on the text box here, you'll see how the text is wrapping around this piece of clip art, around its shape here. And if I select on the object here, you can see that it's set in the second row of tools up here to text wrap to the left following the contour. And on the right hand side here we've got other and different varying examples of this. So if I zoom into this, zoom like that, and click on the actual object on the piece of clip art, you can see here that it's text wrap all. If I scroll down, this is obviously text wrap to the right. I select the piece of clip art, and as you can see, text wrap to the right square. If I go down further, click on this one here. This one is text wrap around the entire contour, so it's actually not going inside it, it's wrapping around it. As you can see here, you can see the text wrapping around the piece of clip art. And if I slide over to the left here and just zoom out a little and click on this object here, the other thing you'll notice is that you can actually set an offset. So if I increase this offset, I'll come back to it. So now that VinylMaster does that, once you do it once and come back to something, it remembers that you actually want to keep this up. This is one of the techniques we use. So you can see here by adjusting this offset, I can bring it in closer and closer or further and further away. So I have that tool as well. If I hover the mouse over there, it'll actually tell me in different units. I'm setting it to 40 millimeters in this case, and you can see the feet and yards there as well. So that's how text wrapping works on an object. Now, the text wrapping is a two-step procedure. The first thing you have to do is you have to actually set a text box to text wrap, which is done in this button up here, text wrapping on and off. So if I check that off, you'll see that this text box no longer text wraps. It just ignores this piece of clip art here. It's not interested in it anymore. Even though this piece of clip art actually has, I've gone into Note Edit mode by double clicking on it, you'll see that this piece of clip art here actually has text wrapping set to on by actually clicking this here, which is the second step. But you also need to have the text box set to text wrapping on for it to actually text wrap around an object. And that's a good thing to have, because sometimes you want some text to text wrap and sometimes you don't. So by being able to switch this on and off, it's quite an advantage. So I'll turn that back on, and you can see this resets itself to whatever this object's been set to, and you can just change that up here to, for example, if I make it to left square, you can see that it just automatically sets it to a square, and I can set my offsets and things again. Now, again, if I select this object and I say no text wrap, again, because this object has no text wrap, the text box underneath or next to it, or above it or below it, in this case it's below, has no reason to text wrap to anything because there's no text wrap object near it. So by selecting this object now and turning text wrap to left again like that, you can see how it sets that. So the steps are: one, you need to set the text box itself to being a text wrapping text box by clicking on this button up here. Okay, and you'll find that that's also available in the menu under text wrapping if you check that on. So you've got the button there and there, and you'll find there's also, without a doubt, a right click menu for this as well. If I come down here, I need to be in text mode obviously, and I've got text box tools, and you can see if I come down here I've got text wrap on and off. So I can locate the text wrapping tool in several places. Once I've said to my text box, you're a text wrapping text box, I can then set my piece of clip art or another piece of text or another object or anything I want to a text wrapping object by selecting it and coming up here and setting these text wrap options. So that's how we set text wrapping on and off, and this is what we mean by text wrapping. Very handy tool, great for layout and design, and because VinylMaster gives you so many different options here for text wrapping, you can really set some great effects with your artwork, your text and your objects. And that's the end of this lesson.